Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Carly Bell, and I love to do machine embroidery tutorials. And today we are continuing with our Candy Corn Quilt Shop sew along. This is a featured quilt from Kimberbell that we have been working on since the beginning of September. Very excited because we are like this close to the finish line. And today's project, we're a little behind my schedule that I made for myself, but it's okay because I made it. I could change it. But I'm excited to be back today, and we're going to pick up where we left off on Tuesday, and that is now we're actually going to add the backing to the quilt. So let me see if I can do this by backing up and showing y'all. So on Tuesday, what we ended up doing was finishing the borders because I myself fell behind from going out of town the weekend and the week before. So we finished up all the borders, which was the inner borders, the outer borders, having them quilted, and then we sewed them on. So that had to be on before we can move on to the backing, and that's what we are going to work on today. So I can't see what you see, but what I did before I started today's class was I went on the floor here in my living room and I laid down a piece of fabric that I'm using for my backing. I bought the fabric kit for this quilt, but it didn't come with a piece of backing. So I just got some black cotton. I actually bought it from Walmart. It came in a 3 or 4 yard bundle, and the width was perfect because I think it's like 43-ish inches wide, and my quilt is 40 inches wide, so it had a little bit so that I could go over on both sides. And I laid that down, and then I laid my quilt on top of it. And if with this fabric, it's hard to tell which side's the right side, but you want it to be wrong sides together here between your backing and your quilt. So the pretty side shows on the back, and then of course your quilt side shows on the front. So I laid out my piece of fabric. I ironed it before and cut it to size. And then I sprayed it with temporary spray adhesive. And I laid my quilt on top and tried to smooth it out as much as possible. And then I went and added these safety pins. Can y'all see these safety pins kind of everywhere? I'm glad I didn't do that live because several curse words were said. I made myself bleed at one point kept poking myself. So don't be like me. Don't poke yourself. But I got these safety pins from Amazon, and I have them linked on the homepage for the sew along. So they look like this. You see how they're curved? So I have those kind of all over, just holding my backing in place. My microphone off. Okay. But you can see I kind of have them all over. You could see better on the back because then they're shiny. But random places. I thought at first I was going to put them in every block, but then I thought that was a bit of overkill. So they're just kind of randomly in places. I did make sure though not to put them in things that would show a punctured hole. So there are some spots on this quilt. Let's like these pretty vinyl windows, these shiny thimbles, your faux leather sewing machine. You're not going to want to put your safety pins in those areas because once those are punctured, the hole will stay and be visible. So I tried to put them in places where I thought that, you know, they really wouldn't be noticed when we take them out. So you can see they're kind of just like all over the place. So that is the prep work that is needed to be done before the next step, which is going to be sewing the front to the back. And we're going to be using a method called Stitch in the Ditch. And I have several tools that are going to help us do this better. Oh, help me do this better. because I'm the one that needs all the help they can get. So here is my sewing machine, and I got it laid out so that I would remember to talk about all these things. So step number one to help me make this look better is I am using invisible thread. So I think this is called like monofilament, sulky, invisible, fine. This is linked on the Sew Along homepage. So if you are just joining in for the first time, don't worry. All of these classes have been recorded and they're located on my website, carlybell.com. If you search in the Sew Along section, you'll see a page dedicated to Candy Corn Quilt Shoppe, and it has links to everything that I'm showing you. Okay, and that should be the first link you see below the video in the video description box area. That it's the first link, brings you straight there. So first thing that's going to help us is this invisible thread. Since the back of my quilt is black, I'm going to use a black bobbin thread. So that also blends in nicely and is not super contrasting. But this is by all means, choose whatever bobbin thread color you want for your back. All right, then I'm using a Brother Stellaire XJ2, which means that it's a sewing and embroidery combo machine. So I've taken my embroidery unit off, I've taken my embroidery foot off, and I am using what they call the Move It foot. This is a fancy walking foot. This foot helps me sew this quilt so much easier because it actually has like a little belt to help pull and feed the fabric through, especially when you're working with something as heavy as this quilt and bulky. This, I think, really helps with not having skip stitches and things staying where they're supposed to. So this foot, when you get it, it comes with this. I guess this is really the foot part. So this is like the mechanism behind the foot. And then this is a normal foot, can be used for zigzag stitches, whatever, straight stitches, and so on. And the last class, when we were sewing the borders on and when we were piecing the quilt together, I used this foot attachment, which is a 1/4 inch guide foot. For today's class, I'm using this stitch in the ditch, I think that's what they call it, foot, where it has the guide right in the center. And this is going to help me use this right in between the seams that are already existing on the quilt. So this is what I'm putting on. So, and it just kind of snaps into place. I have links to all of like this center guide foot and 1/4 inch guide foot are linked on the Sew Along homepage. So you can find links to all that there. My friend Marina, who is in my VIP membership group, she's the one that told me about these, and I'm so glad she did. And the only place that both her and I could find them available for sale was World Winder website. So let's see. And that's where I linked it to, is the place where her and I bought it from. All right, so sewing. I'm going to thread my needle. I'm going to go to my piecing. I guess I'm going to use the same piecing stitch. I don't know if that matters so much. But I think I will back stitch for these when I start and stop. So let me turn that on. And I put on my laser so I can see all of that. So any questions before we start? Let me go check my computer now. Good morning, Dee and Becky and Elsa and Tammy and Patty. How are y'all doing? Let's see. All right. Yay. I'm glad y'all are looking forward to today's show. So I am hoping we get all of this done and then maybe we can just start talking about binding. I know I won't be able to get both done because, like, according to my schedule, we're supposed to be doing binding today. But like I said, that's okay. We're still going to get this done before Halloween, no matter what. We might have to have an extra class, but we're going to get it done because Halloween's next week. And I really wanted to have it done before Halloween. Okay, so I also wanted to go back and watch what I did for our previous big sew along, which was the Oh So Delightful quilt. Because to be honest, that's the only other time I've done this, right? With the stitch in the ditch and everything. I want to say we started kind of like in the middle. I can't remember if I started at the top middle or in the middle. So we're just going to pick a spot to start. And I do need to raise my presser foot. So this is where things are going to get to be fun. Trying to maneuver. Also, these safety pins, maneuvering around them. And one suggestion I saw someone had was to actually, put a safety pin in each block and take it out once you've stitched all around it. I'm going to kind of go in all kind of weird ways. So I don't know that that method is going to help me personally, but I can always check the back and see, which blocks, make sure I got all the sides. But basically, let's see, we could start here. This is kind of center. And this is where this guide foot, like we're literally running right in between the seams. And we have this invisible thread. So if it happens to shift a little bit and it's not in the seam, it's okay because it won't be seen. And what you're going to be left with on the back is pretty much the same grid of blocks that you have on the front. Okay, so I am starting the top center. And make sure y'all can see this. Okay, move my pedal. And I'm going to back stitch. And just let my little guide foot go. And I got, this goes all the way down to the little sofa block. What's wrong? I touched the screen. So you see how big and bulky this thing is. This is when this move it foot I find is very helpful. Oh, I forgot. I always keep things behind my sewing machine. I'm knocking them all off now. It's fine. I'll go pick them up later. Okay. Okay, done. And back stitch. Okay, so now it's just like figuring out a way that I want to work around this. And let's go ahead and check the back and see how it looks. So yeah, we can see, I don't know if y'all can see, there's my back black bobbin thread and it blends in nicely. And I have my top thread. I can see where I went off center here and you could just see the puncture marks, but it's fine. That's fine. The puncture marks are very defined today for some reason. Okay, so I've gotten that one. I think what I'll do is there's a center here. I'll go ahead and start that one. I have it on the wrong stitch. That's why it's going back and forth. No, not this one. It touched something. It's doing a zigzaggy stitch. Okay, let's fix that. There we go. Okay, so I got both sides of this switch now. Okay, Okay, I see this. Now, if I just keep moving to the right, there is a seam that goes all the way from the top to the bottom. I am going to do that one next. Okay, I bet I did a better job on this one than I did this side. Oh, just trying to keep it from weighing down so much. Oh, thread broke. That's okay. I'm going to cut. So that bobbin thread's out, and then the thread's up in here. So I'm just going to, oh, I see it's getting tangled up here in the thread stand. It had too much tension. Okay. This thread is a little tricky to work with. Oh, it says to thread the needle, please remove the fabric from under the presser foot. Really? Thread. Okay. All right, and I just have to keep an eye on this. And let's put this back where we were. I could see where I left off, so I'm just gonna overlap some of that. Just kind of like with embroidery. I don't see this moving yet. Okay. Oops. Okay. I hear all my stuff falling. All right, I'm probably gonna have to move this safety pin. It's a little in the way. Try not to poke myself in the process. Nope, lost the needle, the thread again. Okay, cut. Okay. You're definitely going to get to the binding if my thread keeps breaking. Yeah, this is aggravating that you have to move the fabric out every time. Okay. Where was I? Oh, I see it. Okay. All right. So we got one long pass down. Let me check the computer. Y'all got questions. I can't see anything from over there. What size needle am I using? Elsa said I got my regular 85. No, 7511. Past time I've used the invisible thread. It kept breaking for you too. Okay. Oh, yay. Linda went to a quilt shop where she got her machine and she saw this kit. She might try it. You should, Linda. It's fun. And you could come back and watch all the replay videos of how we made it. Okay, so now we've gone here. We've gone, did we do this one? No, I don't think we did this one. So here's another, I could double check by looking at the back. Nope. There's another long pass here in between MT bobbins and broom parking. Broke again. Ugh, it's aggravating. Okay, I changed my needle the other day when we were sewing. I can't remember the class. I taught 2 classes on Tuesday, and I can't remember if it was my VIP class or this class, the way the needle broke. And I changed it. So it's a fresh-ish, it's a fresh needle for me because, the only time I change my needle is when it breaks. But it's I know, oh, the thread is not even on the thread stand no more. That would help. It's not even going through the loop at the top. Yep. That's not the needle. It's me. Okay, where was I passing? In between these. Okay, I see a spot here. It looks like it left off. Okay. All right, so I'm looking at the back. I got those 2 at the bottom, but then they got more up here. Let's see. Now I guess it's just a game of moving around. Let's see. I got that, this. Let's go over here. Look, here's one little one in between. Oh, wait. Good start with these orange pinwheels. Go from there to there, and then go from there to there, and then they got a couple at the bottom. All right, pumpkin, and then I'll go here down to the flying geese. And I got to move my camera because the leg of it, if I can do this, there we go. The leg is right where I want to put my foot. Okay, we did, what did we do? down to there. I can't remember what I just did. Yeah, we got on both sides of the pinwheels. So let's see if this guy might be in my way. All right, and this goes down to these flying geese. Stop there. And then they just have one here. We could do this little bit here. All right, and while I'm down here, I don't have anything right here. So let's get on the left side of the green dress form, which I'll need to move this to do it. Okay. And now we can go down the side in between all my scraps and the sofa and go all the way to the bottom. Needle broke. I mean, thread broke. Cut. I was doing good. This stuff is like fishing wire. And so you know what might help? This little thread guard on top. Let's try that. So move you up. See my little thread stand? I'm gonna put, oops. I'll put this little cap on top because I see it getting twisted around the pole here. That might help. Let's see if that does the trick. Okay, back to here. All right, any questions while I'm stopped? Let's see. Yeah, I'll go back and check that. All right, where was I? Here. Somewhere around there. Okay. Okay. Oh, my dog. Right before I started the video, my smoke alarm, not the one of, what do you call those? Smoke detectors, decided the battery was dead and started beeping. Oh my goodness. Ozzy went cuckoo. I was like, of course this happened right before I need to. So I was like, I need to go take care of that before I start this because he'll be freaking out the whole time I'm working in here. So I did it, but now he's still outside my door fussing. Okay. A little bit more of that. Okay. I probably need to move this one. Okay. Okay. So, feel like I've gotten every row vertical up and down except where it meets the inner border. So, let's see. I got on this side the sewing machine, on this side the sewing machine. Don't have this witch. I need to do this one. And then this is top to bottom. I think this goes all the way to the top. No, that's in between a block. All right. And then I think around the quilt shop, and that'll be it for all the verticals besides the borders. Hooked on the camera. Okay, can't do that. There we go. All right, and this can go from top here to this flying geese. Okie dokie. I'm not going to worry about going in between these little ones. I don't think all that's necessary as long as they went here and here. Okay. Let's take a minute and go inspect the back and see what we've got. Okay, so what I think I've done, and I'll double check by checking the back, is every vertical line. I wish my clip still worked. Now the quilt is getting too heavy now. It keeps falling off my arm. my clips, but let me just put it on the table. That'd be easier. Okay, I've got this line. That one goes all the way down. We got these in between, stopped here, went here, did these, this one, this one, this one, zoom out. We did this one, we did in between this one from the top here. That's the first one we did, was this one. All right, and then on the back, I don't know if y'all can see, but I could see all my lines. Yep, I did everywhere. Oh wait, you know which one I missed? Did I do this one? I missed. No, I did that one. Yep, I did on the quilt shop. Yep. And I did that one. Yeah, so I think all of the vertical ones are done. So now I'll go do horizontal. We'll go here, here, you know, and so forth and so on. So I'm just going to turn the quilt and start doing those horizontal lines. All right, let me check the chat real quick. Denise says she's been watching the live videos and then goes back and watch the video that matches the step that I'm at. It's way back. I'm so glad that you're working on it though. That's awesome. So Denise, I am using what's called the Move It foot or dual feed foot that came with my brother Stellaire. It's like a fancy walking foot. If you have a walking foot, that's helpful because it's just so heavy and bulky that you want all the extra help you can get. Let's see. Ooh, Loretta, she is using purple metallic thread, but ran out and had to order because, of course, she bought it at Joann's. Oh, man, but that's fun. Purple metallic thread. I love that idea. Okay. Yes, you should have that foot with your luminaire. All right, now that we kind of have things in place, like it's not going nowhere. So now I'm just going to move from right to left for my horizontal here. Then I guess I'll go do my borders last. Okay, and this one goes all the way to the quilt shop. I'm not going to worry about this little one here. Let's see. Now let's do the bottom of the witches. I'm going to stop at the pinwheels. Even though they technically got between the pinwheels, I'm not going to worry about that. And we can do this line here. And then this. Okay. Oh, wait, that's way out. There we go. Okay. Okay, now we could do, while we're over here, do this one below the thimbles. Okay. Well, let's go back. So we've got here, we got here, here. Now let's go all the way to the beginning and get this one. This one goes all the way to the other side almost. I'm not going to worry about that little one there. Okay, I don't want to jinx myself. Y'all notice when I did something to my thread, not doing that thing it was doing no more. Full cap. Helpful, especially those little Sulky and Guterman spools. Those can be tricky to feed off correctly. All right, did I do this one? Can't remember. No, I didn't do above the pumpkin. Let's do that. This is only going to go above the pumpkin because then there's a pinwheel. And then we can go below and below. I'm not going to worry. I don't need to worry about this one. I'll just do this one. Okay. And all right, let's see where we're at. We've done this. And we can go here and then go back all the way. Let's see. I think we did one here. Let's do one here. I did this already. Could do. Okay, see that? You see what's happening? My fabric is touching my screen as I'm pulling it up, and I kept changing my stitch type. That's not good. Okay, let's go here now. Oh, see, I knew I would jinx myself. It's getting caught up here. Okay, cut. Knew I would jinx myself. Okay, stay there. Okay. Oh, it came off this spool altogether. Let's fix that. Okay. It's still in there. Okay, I've totally forgot where I left off. Let's see. Even before this pinwheel ended. Okay, so I'll go on the. That's like before this pinwheel ended, so I'm gonna do a little before that. There we go. No, I didn't want to do that. Okay, watching my thread stand. Okay, let's see. Did I go there? No, I can go in between these blocks. And we can go across this whole one. I need to move this guy. Oh man. Did the thread break? I'm pretty sure the thread broke. Yeah, it broke. It's not there no more. Okay, cut it. Okay, let's see what's going on here. It's twisted. It's still getting twisted, even with the spool cap on. Okay, let's try and wind this back up. How is that happening? Okay, we got a knot here. That's just a big old knot. We have to cut this. It'll make life easier. Okay, let's try this again. Spool cap push down. Good. Okay. Don't know where I left off. Right here. Right there. Okay, so we got all across there. I think the only spot we're missing is right here. Did we do this? No? And we could do that one too. Okay. This one's not necessary. That's not big. Okay, so while I'm over here, I'm gonna go ahead and do this whole border, and I'm gonna do on both sides of the border, of the inner border, you know. I wonder if I even need to do that. What if I just did on the outside of the inner border? That's probably good. Nope, thread broke. Oh, it doesn't like me. I jinxed myself. Cut. Stay over here. Yeah, I'm definitely just going to do that. The part in between the outer border and inner border, because the way my thread is working with me today, it's going to take forever. Nope, didn't even take the thread. Where'd the thread go? There we go. There's the thread. And pull it through because there's some stuff going on over here on my thread stand. All right, where did I leave off? Right here. Okay. Although I could probably just pivot and turn here, but I don't think it's going to be harder to undo all of this. Then working on it this way. Okay, so that one's done. I know, Ozzy. I need to go move my dog real quick. He is not going to be happy until he is laying in Abigail's bed. I'll be right back. I know. Come here. Oh, you're going downstairs? Go. Sorry. Okay, this is ready. All right, I probably could have pivoted that one, but let's see. All right, so we got that one. Now we're on this one. That shouldn't be in the way. Okay. Okay, I think I could pivot this one. Let's try that. Oh, bobbin thread, of course. All right, let's just finish this. Okay. I'm glad it detected it, because usually with these metal bobbins, it doesn't detect it, and I just run out. Maybe that's just with white thread, I don't know. Let's do that. So if you're not familiar, there's a built-in bobbin winder up here. And there's a special thread path just for the bobbin winder. Let me check the comments while I'm doing that. Yes, Elsa, I think we pretty much sewed around almost each block for the most part. Oh, that would be cool to sew a big pinwheel X on the back. This is the tedious part for sure. Yes, Becky. But it's coming together. I'm going to go ahead and fill this guy up because black is one I use more often, I think, than some of my colored ones. Okay. Put that through thread path, bottom thread path, and go. I don't need to rethread my top because I didn't mess with that. And oh, where do we stop? Right in this corner. Yeah, right here. So I'm just going to start at the beginning of the corner again. Never fails when I'm like, say I'm doing like an in the hoop project and my bobbin thread matches my top thread and my bobbin runs out, and then I stop, I cut my top thread, I wind my bobbin, I go to get started again. I totally forget to redo my top thread path because I cut it. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. Okay. Back stitch. I did this one already. I think we're done. Okay. I think I am done. Let me go lay it on the table and check it. Okay. I got a square going all the way around. And y'all can't, let's see. Y'all can see like the whole grid that we've made here. Looks good. I can tell that's the quilt shop because that's the biggest one. But yeah, I think that is good as far as just attaching the backing. For me, this is like, it's necessary because, you know, we want the backing on there, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be super pretty and perfect because we're not looking at the back. This is not a lap. This is not a quilt I'm gonna be covering up with or anything like that. This is strictly to hang on the wall. So I feel good about that. So what time is it? 11:30. We are doing great. We might start some binding. Let's see. Okay, so the next thing is, I don't remember if we did it on Oh So Delightful. So y'all tell me y'all's opinion. Do we want to go and do a quick stitch along the absolute outer edge? Do we want to do that and then trim it? I feel like that will help things stay in place a little better. So, and I think I'll just go ahead and do it right now instead of trimming it and then doing it. I think I'll do it and then trim it. What do y'all think? Okay, let's see. Yeah, Christina's almost caught up. Becky's like, haven't started, but it's for next year. That's all that matters. You're gonna start it. We're gonna do it. I bought this quilt last year, so I'm in the same position as you. I bought it all last year. I didn't do it till this year. Yes, do it, then trim it. All right, that's what Denise thinks too. Yeah, so I'm gonna go take this back. I'll still do it with the invisible thread, and I'll just do a simple thing all the way around. Yeah, Patty agrees. Let's go do that. I'll just leave what I have on the machine and stitch around. I can't remember. I have to go back and look at the video from Oh So Delightful. It makes sense that we did that, but I don't remember if we did that. I feel like this is already getting pulled down. So yeah, I think it'll be very helpful to stitch all the way around. Oops. Now I'm gonna back this up so that the camera, the quilt keeps knocking on the camera legs. Okay. I got some of the edging of the quilt where like the stabilizer pokes out past it. So I'm trying to get the actual black fabric, not just the stabilizer. And I'm catching just the edge of it barely. There we go. undo this. Oops. Okay, you need to go undo that. There we go. Okay. Okay. You know what I've heard some people do with at this step is they'll serge their quilt before they add their binding. Then it would cut it for me if I was doing it where I'm supposed to. I think I probably would need to square it up and stuff first. Okay. I can't imagine how I'm gonna do. So when I make a bigger quilt on this machine, I told y'all I went to Nashville, right? I visited this super cute quilt shop called Stitcher's Garden, I think, or Quilter's Garden, Stitcher's Garden. And I want to say Brentwood, Tennessee. It was right south of Nashville. And they had beautiful, quilts on display everywhere. And one of the quilts they had on display was actually a panel, a big national park panel. And it had pictures, which is actually the posters from all 63 national parks. And Chris, my husband, loves national parks. And we're actually planning a big trip next summer with the girls to go to California and visit a bunch of national parks. And so he really liked the panel. The panel was like, I wanted to say like 64 inches by 70 something inches, maybe something like that. And so I was like, okay, I can do that. So I bought the panel. And the one they made in the store had flannel backing and flannel binding, which I really liked. And so I was like, I can get this and just make a quilt sandwich with the flannel and the batting. And what I was thinking is I want to try to just do line quilting on my machine. Because at first I was like, I could do like I did my nephew's quilt and use my magnetic hoop and do like a cute Kimberbell background quilting design and use the clear blue tiles method. But I was like, I really like the look of line quilting. So I'm like, maybe I'll try that. That'll be a good practice for me on that panel. But I think I'm gonna have to move my machine to a table where I got room to move around. I might actually go do that at my dining table. I got a like a formal dining room that we don't really, the table is literally covered in the girls' stuff. And I could clear that off and move it down there. So then I have a nice big spot because this sucker's hard to move. But yeah, I think that's going to be a fun project to do. And I love the flannel though. And I looked and I found the flannel in the store, but I didn't buy it there because I had to go on the airplane. And I only fit so much stuff in my suitcase. But Riley Blake made it. It was like a blue and charcoal gray houndstooth design, I want to say. And I was like, ooh, that will look good. Okay, we made it all the way around. All right, and I'm so happy my thread didn't break that whole time. Okay, now we can go take all the safety pins out and start trimming the outer extra fabric I got here around the borders. Okay. Patricia says serging the edges is a great idea. Just another reason to get a serger. Yes. I have a serger. I don't use it very often, but I want to. I just don't. But this way I think would be a good idea to do. Maybe I'll try it with Chris's big National Parks quilt. We will see. That was a lot of sewing before the bobbin rewind. Yeah, we did good. We got a lot done. Okay, let's see if I can not poke myself taking these out like I poked myself putting them in. All right, actually I have the stuff I bought. I went to 2 quilt shops in Nashville and I have my souvenirs on my table here. I can show y'all after. Okay. And like talking about that line quilting that I'm planning to do, that Move It foot has a special guide. What do you call those? I have it over here somewhere. This is a double one, but you know the things that fit in the presser foot and then they sit on it. So like say you stitched a line already, you just let that line go here and then you follow that line here and then your new line will be, you know, however you push this in and out in Like if you want your lines 1 inch apart or 1.5 inches apart or 2 inch. I don't know. I don't remember what these are called, but I got this. I had to buy that for the Move It foot too. What is it called? It's a quilting guide. Yeah, guide. Quilting. This guy. I got this from World Wonder too. I thought I could take the one I already had from another sewing machine, but no, of course the dual feed Move It foot had one little special piece it needed to get that quilting guide to go through it, and so I had to buy the special one. But it'll be worth it when I do a big quilt and just do the line quilting, and that'll help it. Okay, am I done? Yep, got them all out. All right, so now I think I'm just going to do the best I can with laying this here. Have these will be my weights. Make those stay. And then rulers. Where's my ruler? And oh, I forgot a pen. And I'm just going to go and cut along there. There we go. Okay. I'm going to pick up all these little pieces with it. Okay. And now we turn. Okay. All right, just working my way around, getting this trimmed. Oh yes, Elsa makes a good point too. She has seen where You know, we sewed this, but she's seen where people take the backing and just fold it in and make the binding with it. Yes, you could definitely do that too. I didn't even think about that. But I love this. This is the material we're using for the binding. I love it. I was very excited about that. But yeah, if I just wanted, you know, whatever fabric I'm using for the backing to also be my binding, that's a great idea as well. Now I'm just trying to hold the quilt by pressing against it. All right, last side. Oh, and I missed another safety pin. All right. Okie dokie, Smokey. We have now officially attached the backing with the stitch in the ditch and trimmed the edges. I don't know what direction. I'm holding this the right way. There we go. So there's the front. And here's the back. And we got it trimmed and everything. So it is now ready for binding. Yay. So let's talk about binding. It's 12 o'clock. Do y'all, for those of y'all that are watching live, do you want me to keep going? Do you want to go into binding today, or do you want me to push it off to next week? But I figured I don't want to, we can maybe get back on schedule if I keep going. Hello, Quilt Winch. Here lies Alma Scraps. Love it. Yes. Okay. All right. Oh, I forgot about this. Was still up. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put this aside. I'll put it on my chair over here. This is going to definitely need a lint roller before this is all done. I got threads everywhere. All right. I'll put it on my chair over here. And actually, where is my lint roller? Because this whole area is a mess. It was here. Oh, I don't know where it is. Did I leave it out here? No telling. Things walk away in here. Okay, so let's talk about binding. And I'm going to tell you now, the likelihood of me messing this up is very high, but I did print out some instructions to hopefully keep me from messing them up, because I messed it up. I don't know how many times we did the Oh So Delightful quilt when we did the binding. I think I ended up like seam ripping that last step where you connect the two pieces. That's where I personally struggle, but hopefully I'm going to get better. So we'll see. But let's talk about binding for a second. So I think we can zoom in now a little bit. Okay. So I've already started my binding, and I didn't do the last step so that y'all could see. So what you're going to want to cut is 2.5-inch strips, and we're going to join them together by what is it called? Sewing it on the bias. I think that's what it's called. And so if I undo this, so I already connected 3 strips. So this is my 4th strip. So, and then I folded it in half. So let's find where it is. One of them I did real good. This one. The other one, it'd be nice if I could make it where the stripes line up. This was pure coincidence that it did. But this right here, in between this black stripe here, is where 2 pieces were sewn together. So like I said, I got very lucky and it worked nice. And you can see that's where I sewed it and I pressed the seams open. So that's what we're going to be doing. The one I did before that did not come out as pretty. Where is it? Here. So this one, you see how the spacing is not quite right. And then that's where it was sewn together. And that's me not paying attention at all. That's just me putting pieces together. So let's see if I could get lucky again with this last one. And then I just wrapped it around. I had this little piece here left over from that black fabric I bought. So I wrapped it around that. Oh, I don't need to do that though. Just go back here. So I have my brand new piece, and this is my leftover piece that I've already sewn together. And I'm going to follow instructions. I got these instructions. I could not find it in the quilt shop, the Candy Corn Quilt Shop, anywhere in their instructions. I got this from Perfectly Peace, which is a subscription from Kimberbell and Me Time. I used to get all the time. I have way too many of them, but every month they had an additional resources guide, and it had all kind of great quilting instructions and tips in there. And so I just printed out the pages on binding. So this helps you figure out how to calculate how much binding you need. And it says most binding strips are cut to 2.5. If you want it to be more snug, you can cut at 2.25. But this is the visual that I personally need to make sure that I'm showing you the right way to do it. But we're going to take our fabric that we're adding on to, and I'm going to put it straight up and down. And I like using my cutting mat here so that I can put it right on a corner, because I want to know this corner. So put it right side up. And then I'm going to take the strip that I'm attaching to it and do wrong side up. And I'm going to line up this corner with this corner and lay it right on top like this. All right, so this is when we see, I guess this is when I should be paying attention. I guess if I lined up the stripes, say I did it more like right here. I think no matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to sew this where the stripes line up. Maybe here. Let's try that. So just with these stripes, I'm looking at how they're matching up and see if the stripes line up nicely. Like I said, I got lucky with that other one that it looks so good. But let's see if I actually try, if I could make it work. So normally I would line it right up, but I'm making these stripes line up. So if I wanted, I could cut the top of this off, but I'm going to leave it for now because I can cut it after. Okay, and then I'm going to use a ruler, and I'm going to draw myself a diagonal line from this corner to this corner on my wrong side of fabric. And if you're good, you might not even need to do this, but I need this. So, and then I draw myself a line, and I pin it on either side of that line so that this stays together how I want. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the machine and I'm going to sew from this line to this line. And this looks like it's shifted. I want this side to be flush. And I was trying to make these stripes line up. Okay, that looks better. Gotta move things when I pinned it. And I'm going to sew right on that line there. So let's go do that. I still got my clear and black thread in. I forgot. That's okay. Okay. Oops. So that is done. Let me turn my iron back on. Okay, so I've sewn right where that line was, and that did not go as well as I was hoping it would. Like when you pull it apart, now my black stripe is skinnier. It's okay. I tried, but it's fine. And I'm going to use that same line where I sewed and where I drew, and a 1/4 inch. I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch off. And this is where I'm going to have to fix this little spot here. All right, so now when I pull this open, it's almost right. It's just a little skinnier. And I'm going to iron that seam open. And once I've done that, then you iron everything in half. And that's where I got my piece that I've wound up on my little board. Okay. So you see where I left off here. I was ironing it wrong sides together and just in half. And there. Then you're ready to start attaching it. And they have tricks where people will go and like leave it on, like leave your iron like this and like pull it and go through it, but I'm not good at those things. I'm going to end up messing something up. So I'm just slowly moving things. I've seen even little tools made like some kind of silicone mat where like once you get it started, you can run it through. Let me turn my mat at least so that it's long ways. Okay. And I think I measured, so this is like the width of fabric. So each strip was like 43-ish inches after I cut the selvage off. And I got 4 strips. And my quilt, let's go to calculator. So if I have 4 strips of this at 43 inches, that's 172. My quilt is 40 inches on each side, 160. So that leaves me 12 inches of extra binding that I'm going to need to help with that overlap step. So that should be enough. Now, so this was all in these directions here. So now adding the binding to the quilt, there are several ways that you can do it. I'm going to show you one, option today that I have been liking the best out of the multiple options. If you talk to my mother-in-law, she will tell you the only way, no, she wouldn't say it that way, but the way that she likes to do binding is that I can't remember if she attaches it to the front or the back first, but she hand sews the other, like when she flips it over, she'll hand do it. And I forget what kind of stitch she told me she does. It looks beautiful. I'm not going to do that. So then other methods I've done, let's see if I got any of my quilts. I need to get my quilt box. Other methods are where you sew it on, start the binding on the front, and then, was it the front? No, start the binding on the back. Pull it around to the front and sew. So this is my box of examples. Okay, so this method would show that. Let's see. All right, so I started with the binding on the back, stitched it with the raw side going to the raw side, which you'll see in a minute. Then I folded it over to the front and I stitched it just like 1/8 of an inch there. So you can see that stitch. And then on the back, you can see like it doesn't always fall like right within the thing. And you see the stitch line on the binding here. So that's one option. The option, and this one looks like that too. Let's see. This one does that too. So you see where I did it on the back first and then folded it over to the front and stitched it. Then I had someone tell me what they like to do is stitch it on the front first, fold it over on the back, but from the front, kind of try to do a stitch in the ditch right here. So then I think it looks super clean, like with my mother-in-law would do with hand sewing. And then you'll see the seam on the back, and it may not be as clean, but as long as you catch it on the back, it should be fine. So this is the method that I've decided I like the best. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. And I'll probably use black thread for the front and the back, because on the back of my quilt is black with the stripey, and then my outer border here is black. So another option would be you can use the invisible thread. I'm going to go look at my Oh So Delightful. I used invisible on the front. Yep. And I used white on the back. Now maybe I'll do invisible then, just in case I catch some of the binding in it. It won't be super obvious. So invisible on the front, stitch in the ditch, and I'll do black probably on the back. But those are the 3 ways that I know of adding binding: the hand way, the top stitch, and then the stitch in the ditch. There's probably more ways to do it. Those are just the ones that I know. Okay. So let's see. Hi, everybody. Okay. So now we're going to get started. And I always tend to start. So I'm going to turn my quilt sideways. Zoom out a bunch. Y'all can see everything. All right. So this is the side of my quilt. I usually start here. And I'm going to start with sewing on the front of the quilt. And you're going to take your binding that you folded in half, and you want the raw edge matching up with the raw edge of your quilt. And what I will do is I'll actually won't start stitching till here. And I give myself all this wiggle room to work with when we try to get these two pieces to meet up. Okay, so I'm gonna give myself that wiggle room, and I will start actually stitching here. And you don't need to pin it all around. I just kind of pull it as I go, and we're going to stitch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can use any thread for this one because this one's going to get hidden. So I'll probably put my white thread on just to not waste my invisible one. And when we get to the corners, that's where, you know, we try to make our mitered corners. We're going to get to the corner and we're going to stop sewing, you know, a little bit before the corner. I don't even know how I would measure that. Maybe a 1/4 inch or so before we get to the corner. And then we're going to change the direction and try to go out. We'll go from going this way and then go out that corner. Once that's happened, we're going to lift the binding up, and we're going to cut the thread once we go out that corner. Lift the binding up and then fold it back down where it is flush to the top. And then we'll repeat that process and go down this whole side. So when you're done, when this gets folded over, it will be a nice mitered corner. So you'll see, I'm going to do this at each corner. I kind of stop before, I cut my thread, I go up, make a little crease here, and then go back down. And then you want your sides of your binding to line up perfectly with your quilt top. All right, I think I'm ready. Let's see how it goes. So I need to change my thread first. Let's put the white on. And I think I'm going to change my guide foot bit here. So I'm going to take off the stitch in the ditch, and I put the 1/4 inch one to help me with my seam allowance. I got that on there. Okay. That is there. I'm going to leave the black thread in the bobbin. And let's see how this goes. Can y'all see everything good? Okay. I put it on the right camera. Okay. Okay. And this is just stitching a straight line. If I could do it, you can do it. There we go. Tail looked weird. And I'm just holding this binding and just keep making sure it's lined up with my edge. Okay, I'm getting close to the corner. I'm going to zoom in so y'all can really see what's happening here. So I'm going to get almost to the end. A little bit more. Okay, then I'm going to stop and I'm going to pivot and actually sew right into that corner and cut. Okay, so can y'all see? It's good with the white thread. Can y'all see that? How it goes over and out the corner? Now that it's done that, I'll turn the quilt. But I'm going to take this and fold this up like this. And then crease it right at the top of the quilt and fold it down. And I'm trying to make this, everything kind of line up here in the square in this corner. All right, once I have that, I'm going to start stitching right there. And I think I have my machine set up to do a locking stitch at the beginning of each thing. So it did a little locking stitch, or you could do a back stitch there. And then we're just going to work our way down the whole other edge. I'm twisting my binding. My binding's all twisted. I got to untwist it. Okay. Oops. All right, we're getting close to another corner, and we're going to repeat that process. We're going to get almost to the end, and then I'm going to pivot and sew right into that corner and sew off. All right, so you can see that line and then went that way right into the corner. And then we're going to fold this up and then right back down, making sure this lines up, and I like these two pieces to line up too, where the crease is. All right, and then once you have that where you want it, you will start over and just sew down this side. Something. Oh, because this side, yeah. Okay, I see now. And you can put a little clip right here if you need to get yourself situated to hold it in place. And do a little back stitch or locking stitch and then go down. I feel like I don't have enough binding. We might need to add another strip to it. I got enough to do one more strip. All right, almost to our third corner. Almost to the end. And then pivot and sew off the corner. Okay, so same thing. Everybody see the line, and then go off the corner and then fold up. And then I kind of use my fingers to make my crease here. Line up with the top and the side. Get that where you want it. Flip it so I can move all this. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need another piece of fabric to extend the length of my binding. So I think we can go ahead and do that now, just so that I have it. Because let's see, let me show you. This, I just clipped this corner. I still got to do this corner. Yes. I guess maybe, let's see. Maybe I can make it. I did this, this, this. I just have like actual overlap, maybe 4 inches. It'll be tight. I think I could do it. Let's keep trying. Okay. All right, almost to the last corner. And pivot. Cut. Okay. Now I can fold up and back down. All right. And let's see how far I get. And every time I say I'm going to give myself more space, and I don't. So let me actually put a clip here to remind me where I want to stop. Oh, thread came undone. Okay. Okay. All right, so now comes the tricky part. Let's see if I can join this together the right way and how many tries it will take me. So here we are. We've gotten our binding all the way around, and this is the only spot we don't have it matched up. And we want it to be to where I cut this perfectly. And when I sew it and flip it over, it is nice and tight and not have any extra there. So there are a few ways to do this method. And I could just, I think I've seen where people like will feed this into here, something like this, and just sew right down. You could fold this down first so you don't have a raw edge, and then feed this in. This would probably be the easiest way. But why would I do the easy way? And go down, and so then it all fits perfectly. That would be an option. Let's see. So but what I want to do is end up sewing this on the bias just like I did when I connected all of these pieces together. That is what I want to do. And this is where I always like put them together incorrectly. But I think with my little cheat sheet in front of me and knowing to have right side, wrong side, and draw my piece, that we should get it. Now the first part is cutting it. Like, how much overlap do you want? A trick someone showed me is to cut just a piece off the end here. Okay. The width which we know is 2.5 inches. That is how much overlap you want with this piece and this piece, is the width of this. So I can put this here, could lay this way. And I don't want to cut this piece, I only want to cut this one. And I would cut it right here. I'll hold my breath while I do that. Okay. So that is the only overlap we have there and there, is the width of our binding, which is 2.5 inches, right? Now I'm going to do this method of the right side of fabric up, the wrong side of fabric this way. And it's a little tricky because we're going to have to squish our quilt to give us the extra room. And I'm going to do it here on my thing. Okay, let's make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, right. I'm going to use my corner here. And then I have this one. I'm going to open it up and do wrong. Ooh, this almost matches up nicely. I'll go ahead and this does match up nicely. This might work out just by getting lucky again. Well, before I do that, I want to draw my line from here to here. I like it when it's, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it with the way I'm turned and everything's laying, but I want to go from this corner to this corner. Something like that. Not quite. I'll see it. Okay, so I got my line. That's where I want to sew. And I can put pins, I can put clips, but I'm trying to keep this where it's supposed to be when I move this big chunky thing back over there. I'm trying to get those stripes to line up, but I don't think I'm gonna get lucky enough to do that. But okay, sorry, I'm taking way too long because I'm trying to do it as straight as I can, but I'm just not good at that. See how this one should be lined up a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not getting it. That's fine. All right. And what should happen is when I sew this Hopefully it will be the right direction, because this is where I always mess up and it ends up being all twisted in the wrong direction. But I'm going to go sew from here to here. And let's see if I can do this. Oops, wrong one. There we go. Okay. And just kind of bunch and fold your quilt out the way, and then just get your binding where it needs to be. Oh, I moved it. No, it's moving because of this. Okay. There we go. Okay. Everybody hold their breath with me. Oh, I did it right. Yay, I'm excited. Yay. Practice does not make perfect, but help. All right, so now when this is folded, it's going to look like that, but we got to get rid of this extra bit. And let's see how I did with, not too bad. Not too shabby with my stripes. Okay, so this, I'm going to make a 1/4 inch cut. Okay, and we can iron or just finger press this open. And then we're going to fold this back in half. We already have a nice crease from where we ironed it before. And now, when we pull this straight, it is good. It might maybe has a little bit extra material. And if that happens to you, like you have, like when I go sew this, and once it gets pulled real tight, I might have a little bit extra right here. What we can do is go sew the same exact place, but just a smidge to the left of where you sewed already, to kind of pull it in and make it a little bit tighter. So I'll go do that real quick, because I can see that it is going to be a little loose once it all comes together. Maybe like 1/8 of an inch more. Let's see how that goes. That makes it a little tighter. I don't know how good I did. Okay. Things I mess up when I do that though is the my open fold seam, and I also got some extra here. It's gonna be a little wonky, but it's fine. Something like that. And then when this gets folded over, it will look like that. All right, so we can go and sew this now. Oops, there we go. Oops. Okay. And we're sewing all the way back to where we started. So now the binding is fully on. Okay. So now this is where I joined it. And when I fold it over, what we're going to do, so we still got all this raw edge happening, and we're going to fold our binding over like this. And so the back will look like that. And the front will look like this. But to help you with this, it's best if you go ahead and take this and press it this way. And then we can actually go and then clip it around and pull it all the way around. And once we've done that, we can do stitch in the ditch right here. So, looking for scissors. I got little stray threads happening. All right, so any questions about that kind of step one of adding the binding? Any questions about that? Let me get my space cleared over here. Yes. Okay, so I need to have this paper in front of me every time I do binding. Because I confuse myself is what happens. Don't need that no more. I need ironing mat. And we can talk about the bias, mitered corners now. So like we're going to fold this over on one side and then just fold it, and then you should get nice mitered corners there, and they'll be on the front too. But just start with pressing your binding out. And we'll fix the corners after. And we can pull out loose threads and stuff after too. See, this is a spot where I joined the binding. Okay, I'm back where I started. So I got everything pressed, and I'll just start right here with rolling it over and clipping. And the goal is when I do stitch in the ditch here, it is going to catch the back here and keep it in place. And I have to check because sometimes I miss. All right, so now I'm going to go here and fold this and then fold this. Kind of get your corner how you want and pin that. Christine, yes, I was just thinking that it's a PDF. I can I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm gonna I'll email my contact person at Kimberbell and ask them if it's okay if I post that the PDF bit with the binding. I'm sure they wouldn't mind, but I do want to ask first. Okay. Yeah, definitely for me, having that visual helps me because I don't do this every day. Once I do it enough, then maybe it'll stick in my brain. But it's been since, what, May since I did it, so it's not in my brain anymore. All right, so here's the corner. I love the stripy binding. This is super cute. And see, with this method, you're getting that nice, clean front edge like you would with the hand sewing, like my mother-in-law does. You're getting that nice, clean seam right there. And then we're hiding our, using our invisible thread and stitching the ditch, you know, attaching, getting the back sewn in. Oops. But yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have it in the instructions that come with, they really don't, they don't give any binding instructions at all. It just says bind. It just says sew borders and add backing and bind. Like one sentence. All right, I've made it all the way around. So back to the machine, and I'm gonna change my guide foot thing to be the stitch in the ditch again. And I'm gonna put my invisible thread on top and say a little prayer that it doesn't break on me while I'm sewing this. Oops. Okay, I still have black in my bobbin, invisible in my top. Checking my top of my thread path so that it's hopefully nothing gets messed up. Okay, let me get these pins out of the way so I don't knock those on the floor on accident. And you can start anywhere. Go ahead and start here on the side. And same as we did the backing, we're just going right in that seam here. And then every once in a while you can check the back and make sure you're catching the bit that you folded over, because there are going to be spots where it doesn't catch, and it's not a big deal. You can go back and re-stitch those spots. And let me get my little bucket so as I take my clips off, I go back in here so I don't have a mess happening. Get my clip. All right, and I can go look back here. Can y'all see that? Y'all see that black line? That's where I'm catching my back. So like if this was the front, I'd like this line to be like as close to that as possible, but I don't care since it's the back. As long as my front looks good. Now, when I make Chris's quilt and I do the binding, that's going to be a different story. That's when I might suck it up and do it Miss Debbie's way. Because I am going to want the back to look pretty. But I loved it when I saw that example at the quilt shop and they had flannel bind. Oh, you know what they might have done? I remember looking at it, but I didn't take. You might want a stiletto for this part because I'm going to take this clip out, but I want it to stay. Let's get as close as I can. I'm wondering, because I remember they did use the same backing as the binding. I'm wondering if they did the fold over method. All right, so we're going to get right to that corner and we're going to pivot. Like this. There we go. I remember looking at it, like investigating it when I was looking at it, but I don't remember if it was folded over or it was done just like what we're doing now. But the flannel, there was flannel binding, which I remember being super cute. Okay. Okay, get right in that corner and then turn. Probably be checking and making sure I'm catching the back everywhere. I'll only check that one time. Yeah, oh, see, I missed a spot here. See, I'll go back and fix it after. There's a spot where I missed. Okay. Okay. Oops. Okay. All right, last little stretch. Last corner. And then I'll just be going back and checking all the spots that I didn't have my overlap good. Oop, all right off here. Okay, I think I'm back where I started. Yep. Phew. I don't know about y'all, but I'm hungry now. All this sewing has made me hungry. Okay. Let's look at what we've got here. And let's back it up so we can see the width here. All right, so we got our stitch in the ditch, and then this side is good. I caught the whole back everywhere I went. All right, this side, almost didn't catch it here, but I did. I got a little cut right here. All right, that's good. Okay, we got a spot here. That's it. Let me grab my clips. So this little spot right here, I'll go back and fix after I eat lunch. And then this side, here's a little spot here. And that's all good. Yep, and all the corners look good. Yay. All right, so I got 2 little holes to fix where my binding didn't catch. But overall, super duper happy because first off, I attached my binding the right way the first time. I had a little gap, a little bit more fabric than what I wanted, but the fact that I got it is improvement for me. And then only 2 little holes where my the binding didn't catch on the back, but I can go and fix. So we have the front, we have the back, and I am very happy. Oh, it turned blurry, I guess, because of the black. It doesn't like focusing on the black, but that is it for our class today. We got all of it done. I'm super happy. So I am going to go eat lunch, and then I'm going to go fix those couple spots on the binding that it didn't catch. And I'm going to go cut all my loose threads. I still got some jump stitches, I think, on here I need to trim. And next week we finish. So there is going to be some, so next week will involve a couple of in the hoop embellishments that we need to make. We need to sew some in the hoop. We need to sew some things too. We need to sew, I don't remember if it's in here or in some other instructions, but no, it should be in here. Okay, so we got to make a little banner, a pennant, little hanging thing. Oh, the dimensional mini quilts. That will involve some sewing. We're basically going to sew the printed out front of the mini quilt with some batting and some back fabric. And we are that's going to be with the sewing machine. And then everything else is hand sewn on the quilt. We're going to hand sew buttons, and we're going to make the little bolts of fabric and tack them on. And all of that's going to be hand done. So probably we'll make the things, we'll make the in the hoop things, we'll sew the mini quilts, and I'll probably, sew on a couple buttons and sew on the mini quilts and a couple of the fabric bolts. And in case it takes forever because I'm not quick at hand sewing, y'all get the gist of it, and we'll sew all the rest of the buttons in fabric because there's like 8 bolts of fabric and lots of buttons. So, but y'all see like where to put them, and we'll put all that together, and then it's done. So yay, I'm very, very excited. I'm gonna see if I could clip this to the top of my pegboard without it falling off, but very happy with it. Thank y'all so much for joining me today and for sticking with me through this very long class, because I know we started a long time ago, but it's okay. We got it done. Becky, I feel the in your comment. Yes. I'm not excited about hand sewing either. And then Quilt Wench, great. Thank you so much for reminding me, because I'm so hungry I forgot. Tomorrow we are having our October Sip and Stitch. This is my monthly YouTube tutorial that we do something different every month, and we do it on a different machine. And we're making the cutest little things. We are going to be making little Halloween shirts. So I got like toddler size stripy shirts. I got these cute shirts from AJ Blanks. I updated the Sip and Stitch homepage. So if you go to my website, all the way at the top, you should see Sip and Stitch. You can just click on it, and it's always going to show you the latest tutorial information about it and links to everything. And then I usually make a blog post for every tutorial, so that then you can see, all the details and like written instructions, a copy of the video, all that good stuff. But this is what we're making, except we're going to do a different design tomorrow. I think we're going to do a spider web with his name, something like that. And we're going to be stitching it. This can be done on any machine. This is like smaller than a 4x4 hoop when it's done. But I'm going to be showing you my 6 needle machine and how beautiful it is. And we're going to be using Durkee easy frames to hoop it. But again, you can follow along on your machine with your hoop, whatever kind you have. Literally any machine can make this. But very cute. I got these little mini designs off of Etsy. I'm going to show you how to put it together and in Brilliance, and we're going to stitch it out. But I'm going to focus on telling you a lot about the 6 needle and how to use Durkee easy frames for those of y'all that are interested in that. Sip and Stitch tomorrow, my YouTube channel at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. All right. And then, of course, the replay will be available right after. All right, Beverly, you don't know how happy you make me say that. I know it's not easy, but it's getting easier. And that's the thing. Like, the more we do it, the easier it gets. Like, guys, if y'all would have showed me this last year, I would have been like, there is no way I am making that. When I bought this kit, I bought it because I'm a sucker for a good sale. But deep down, I was like, I'm probably not going to make it. But look, it's so cute. So I'm glad the binding tutorial helped you. I hope, all the rest of the sew along helps you and encourages you to get this done, because we can get it done. We just need to get together and do it. All right. Okay. So I will see y'all next Tuesday. I think normal time, huh? Yeah. 10:30 a.m. Yeah. 10:30 a.m. I don't have it on this paper. And we are going to work on the embellishments as far as we can get until make sure everybody is comfortable with doing them and everything. And then if you're not busy tomorrow, come join me for Sip and Stitch. All right. Okay. Bye, guys. Have a great rest of your day.